Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today it's a little bit different and I wanted to do this one because it's a reaction to Martin Sheen talking about Elvis. Now Danielle, who is one of my amazing subscribers and one of my amazing friends, Elvis friends, and she privately mailed me and just sent it to me, and I loved it. I really did. And I hadn't seen it before, which is annoying because I'm so annoyed that I haven't had this in my life for such a long time. It came out 11 years ago. Where have I been? So yeah, I'm thankful to all of you guys for sending me some things that are new to me. I just love it. Now this is Martin Sheen talking about Elvis, and this floored me. How amazing of of knowledge that he had, but also of spiritual knowledge of getting inside someone. And I think you can only get that if you're in the world, because obviously I know that I could maybe understand and you could understand and other people could, but this guy Martin Sheen is in that whole kind of world, and so he gets it from a different perspective that we would as fans, and I really enjoyed it. So let's watch it.
Talk to you today about Elvis Presley.
You did?
Yes.
I loved Elvis Presley. When I was a boy, people used to think I looked like him. I had a big Elvis hair, you know. I did, seriously. I loved him.
Well, NBC.
There were two icons in the 50s that made all the difference in our lives. It was Elvis Presley and James Dean. And they had a profound effect on our culture. And they still do. It's amazing, isn't it? You didn't think I wanted to talk about it, did you?
Well, basically, NBC is going to be airing "Loving You," a classic Elvis Presley
Is that
film,
right? Yeah.
and we just wanted to get reactions on the impact Elvis had in your life, and what.
Oh,
memories do you
it
have?
was overwhelming, because Elvis was the first male singer that was equally loved by boys and girls. I mean, I'm going back to the 50s, when I was growing up as a teenager in Ohio, and where we took our music very serious. And when we spent a nickel to hear a song, in a jukebox at a restaurant or a club, why, it was big, And there was no hesitation with Elvis, for boys and girls. Very often the boys would prefer a girl singer, Patti Page, or any one of those that were popular at the time. And the girls would always go for Perry Como and Frank Sinatra and all, until Elvis came, and Elvis kind of brought us together. There was no hesitation with playing Elvis's stuff on either side, boys and girls. He was unbelievable. He was revolutionary, I mean, he just changed the way we listened, and had a profound effect on all of us, culturally and musically and emotionally and spiritually, everything. Yeah. Still miss him, man. It's hard to believe he's gone because there's so much still reflective of him,
Absolutely. Now, he was definitely one of the first rock and roll stars to cross over into doing movies.
Yes, he was, yeah. Well, at that time, though, they used to do a lot of rock and roll movies, per se. They would film concerts and then film a story around the concerts. That fellow from Cleveland who invented the term rock and roll, I forget his name. Tell me his name straight away.
I don't know his name.
Anybody know who that was? Who invented rock and roll, the term? From Cleveland. He founded
Alan Freed.
Alan Freed. Alan Freed would organize these concerts, and they would be filmed in black and white at the time, of course. But you'd see Little Richard and Fats Domino and so many of the groups as well. Although Elvis never did any of those, but they were very popular. And they were not, A movies, but they were very important to us, and we'd stay and see them 2 and 3 times in one showing, And so, but Elvis was a movie star. He wasn't like a singer who did movies. He became a movie star. The unfortunate part about it is that he was not, and I'm not making this up, I mean, he expressed a disappointment that he was not groomed to be an actor more. He loved James Dean, too. He was very influenced by James Dean, and he really wanted to be a serious actor, but he was not managed well at the time. And so there was no serious attempt to get him on that another level, acting-wise, so that he could do films with people he admired the most, that were so powerful, than Marlon Brando and Cliff and all those wonderful actors that were doing movies in those days. He wanted to work with those people, but they had another image of him, and so he never grew as an actor. That's unfortunate, because that's really what he wanted to do.
Is there anything that stands out in Elvis's career to you? Any specific concert or any specific, song or movie? When you think Elvis Presley, what's the one thing you think of?
I remember very specifically seeing his first movie over and over again. It was Love Me Tender. And he came to our neighborhood movie house in Dayton, Ohio, the Sigma Theater up on Brown Street. And at the time, it cost 25 cents to get in there, and I couldn't wait to get there because I wanted to. I'll tell you frankly, we thought he was going to be the one to fill the void that James Dean had left. We thought, he's the one, man, And he was very good in that movie. They still had him singing, He sang the title song, but he sang it on screen. So it was great to see him sing whenever. I'd take him singing, on anything. But I was more curious to see how he was as an actor. We were so desperate for a new hero in the cinema, And for a while, he filled that. I saw that film maybe 10 or 20 times just to see him, Richard Egan was his co-star. I saw it a lot.
Now, is there a song that sticks out in your mind? Out of
Oh, there's so many of them. Yeah. I guess it's been said, I'm kind of radical, and I think of music having an effect on the culture, on the society. He didn't do that kind of music. If you had to think of one song that had an importance, in a sense, in a social justice way, it would be In the Ghetto, That song there really got to me, and he did it beautifully. And I was disappointed that he didn't do more of that kind of work. He just wasn't influenced by that kind of, like Dylan or the Beatles. He loved them, but he wasn't drawn to that, He didn't compose any music. He didn't write anything. So he was kind of boxed. That's kind of the tragedy of Elvis's life, is that he was boxed where he began. So he grew tight in that box, and he never got out of it, basically, until toward the end of his career, when he went back on the road, when he started in Vegas and he started live performing. But by then, he was a troubled young man, and horribly addicted. So he wasn't free then. But when he started, I think he really had serious aspirations about becoming a serious actor. And they just wouldn't let him out of the box because they had a jewel there. They had the golden egg. They knew they could count on him where he was, and so they left him there. And he couldn't get out of the box. And I think that had a lot to do with what happened to him later. He was unfulfilled, despite the fact that he was worshipped worldwide as the king of rock and roll. He'd pack him in. He's still packing him in. He's been gone how many years? But his own personal development, his own spiritual development was hampered because he made it so fast, so big. There wasn't anything that he had to model on. There was nobody had ever been there before. He was getting sunburned from his climb. He never saw anyone. There was nobody had any ointment for that kind of sunburn. He went so fast, so high, so quick. Nobody knew how to deal with him. So there wasn't anyone close enough to him that said, you know what, you have another way we're going to go now, and you're going to have to let go of all this other stuff. It's going to cost you. It's going to be painful. But it's the one thing that you're going to later be glad you did. You're going to grow. Growth is the most. Success is a sometimes thing, but growth is forever. Success is a whole mess of failures that are understood, finally. That's success. So I always felt badly for Elvis that he didn't realize his personal growth, which would have been reflected in his career enormously. So.
Great, we're just about out of time. So
I have a few thoughts on Sinatra. How much time we got? Is that okay?
Okay, guys, what do you think of that? I absolutely loved that. I loved every minute of it. It was so insightful. There was loads of bits in there that is from a perspective of a person who's in that industry and who has the knowledge of these pitfalls and things that can happen. And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. I thought out of the blue, coming out with that. I mean, in the little things, like he knows who the co-star in Love Me Tender is. He knows about so many of the things, like 20 times to go see Love Me Tender. So yeah, that is a guy who really did love Elvis, and he has knowledge of the industry itself and having personal growth himself. And also, I think Elvis was all about personal growth, and that part really leaned into me because it made me think I wished Elvis had more of a time that he could have found out even more about himself. It would have been a beautiful thing. There's so much more to come with Elvis. There was so much more potential. And it's just so very sad that we lost him at such a young age. But that interview, I really, really enjoyed it. Please tell me what your thoughts of the interview are. Good, bad, the ugly. Put all your thoughts down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining me on this little bit of a different video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you on another one soon. Bye, everyone.